All right, let's get into it. Today, we're doing something a little different. We're not just telling a story, we're cracking open the architectural plans for Terror itself. We're going to deconstruct the cinematic horror blueprint, piece by terrifying piece. So let's dive right in.
So here's the big question, right? How do you actually engineer fear and do it in just 72 seconds? We're not talking about cheap jump scares here. This is about precision, about building genuine, lasting dread. And this blueprint? Well, it's going to be our case study.
So, what we're actually looking at here is a professional cinematic blueprint. It's basically a step-by-step guide for filmmakers on how to build pure terror from the ground up, detailing every single camera move, every sound cue, the whole shebang.
Okay, so part one. The first step in this blueprint, and this is absolutely key, isn't to throw a monster at you. Nope. The goal is to convince you, on a gut level, that the entire world is fundamentally broken. It's all about crafting this unseen dread, where the setting itself becomes the enemy.
And look at how it does this. It's all about these subtle little violations of nature. On their own, you might not even notice them, right? But when you put it all together, you've got fog moving against the wind, rain that has no rhythm, trees that are leaning inward like they're trying to block the road, and this deep, unnatural silence. It all just adds up to this gut feeling that you are somewhere you should not be.
And here's where it gets really clever. The camera isn't just a machine filming a scene. The blueprint calls for imperfect human movement. It sways, it drifts, like you're actually the one walking down that road. It's not some smooth Hollywood glide. And that choice, it puts you right there in the mud, feeling totally vulnerable.
Now let's talk about what you don't hear, because the sound design is just as important as what you see. Think about a rainy night. You expect wind, maybe some crickets, the steady tap-tap-tap of rain. But this blueprint, it rips all that away. You get the heavy hum of the engine, and underneath it, nothing. Absolute silence. It's a total void, and that engineered quiet is way more unsettling than any loud bang could ever be.
And then, amidst all this technical creepiness, the blueprint drops us right into the driver's head. Last stop, just one more, then I go home. It's so simple, so relatable. We all know that feeling of just wanting to be done and get home safe. And grounding us in that desire makes the encroaching wrongness of her world feel so much more personal, so much more threatening. That's really the key takeaway from this first part. The best horror doesn't start with a monster. It starts with a world that just feels wrong.
All right, so the world is officially hostile. Now we move into part two, where the blueprint starts its next phase, turning everyday objects into threats. It starts to, animate the inanimate, turning the driver's own tools, her GPS, her delivery package into active players in the trap that's closing around her. And this progression is so important. It's like a slow tightening of a noose. First, the GPS takes control, the map literally twisting into a new route all on its own. Then, the box in the back, it wakes up. And finally, the house itself seems to be waiting, with the fog pulling back like a curtain to reveal it. With each step, she's losing more and more control.
So let's zoom in on that box for a second, because this is a masterclass in making something ordinary terrifying. There's no monster jumping out. Instead, it's just these tiny, impossible details, a single twitch, dark, wet handprints that just bleed into the cardboard. The tape lifts just a little by itself, and then a faint knock from the inside. It's all about suggestion, not big, loud spectacle.
That's not possible. And that's her reaction. This is the exact moment her rational mind just starts to break. It's not a scream, It's a whisper of pure disbelief. She's desperately trying to make what she's seeing fit into the rules of the real world. And the real world is losing that fight. And it's not just the objects inside the van anymore. The moment she steps out, the environment itself becomes predatory. The blueprint is super specific here. The fog doesn't just swirl around her legs, it coils around her legs like fingers. It has intent. So the big takeaway here is how this blueprint weaponizes the mundane, twisting totally familiar things into active threats to make that trap inescapable.
Okay, so we've got a hostile world, and we've got threatening objects. Now, for part three, the blueprint shifts the horror inward. This whole section is about psychologically unraveling the driver and us, the audience. It's about completely dismantling any sense of reality, and with it, any sense of hope.
So once she's inside the house, she starts finding proof. Proof that this has all happened before. There are old delivery labels literally peeling themselves off the walls, blood streaks that shimmer wet and then dry in an instant. She hears footsteps that don't match her own. And what's so chilling about this is the realization. She's not the first, she's just the next in line. Any hope she had that this was just some random survivable thing? Gone.
And all of this leads us to the psychological centerpiece of the entire blueprint, the mirror scene. This is it. This is the moment where all that slow, creeping dread we've been building up finally pays off, because the fundamental laws of reality are about to be broken right in front of her eyes.
Just look at this breakdown. It's so simple, but absolutely terrifying. The driver is frozen in fear, staring straight ahead. But her reflection, it moves a second late. It smiles when she isn't smiling. And then, in the most chilling move of all, its eyes shift, revealing that there's something standing behind her. Her own reflection has just turned on her, showing her the threat she can't even see yet.
And this is a classic, brilliant horror technique called suggestive horror. The blueprint is really clear about this. We never get a good look at the monster. It's just a tall shadow figure whose limbs extend too far. That's it. Because what our own minds can cook up to fill in those blanks is always going to be scarier than anything that could actually show us. We fear what we can't fully see.
So after all that slow, deliberate tension, bam! The blueprint just unleashes pure chaos. The camera work completely changes. It goes violent, handheld, whip pans, total disorientation. The flashlight gets dropped, and now you've just got these crawling, dancing shadows everywhere. The point isn't to show you the attack, it's to make you feel it, to feel that blind, heart-pounding panic.
But here's the thing. The attack isn't the end. Not even close. This final part, Part 4, is all about the never-ending loop. The blueprint is designed to deny us any relief, any sense of closure. It makes it crystal clear that this wasn't just a story with an end. It's a process, a cycle that's designed to repeat forever.
And you can see that shift perfectly right here. During the attack, it's all violent, handheld chaos, screaming, thudding footsteps. But the second it's over, the camera becomes locked off, perfectly still. The sounds change to a single, distant, muffled scream, and then the van door just slams shut on its own. It's like a machine has just finished its job. The feeding is complete.
72 seconds. Let's just let that sink in for a moment. This entire journey, from that first bit of subtle unease, all the way to abject terror and that cold, chilling aftermath, all of it was engineered and executed with total precision in just over 1 minute.
And here's the timeline of how it all ends, or rather how it begins again. At the 54-second mark, the panic starts. By 60 seconds, it's over. The house is fed, the lights come on, but then just 6 seconds later, the cycle resets. We hear that knock from inside the box again. The trap is baited and it's ready for the next delivery.
And that brings us to the final shot. Think about this. We started with that imperfect human movement in the camera to make us feel vulnerable, right? Well, it ends with the exact opposite. A slow, perfectly steady, almost robotic push-in on the box. All the human element is gone. The story of our driver is over. Now, we're just watching the cold, mechanical process of the trap itself.
Delivery confirmed. And that's the final line. It's not her voice, of course. It's cold, it's distorted, it's completely inhuman. It's the system itself, just acknowledging that a transaction is complete. A human life has been reduced to nothing more than a confirmation notice, and the whole terrifying cycle is ready to start all over again.